Hey everyone, welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by critiquing current players. I'm one of your three co-hosts, back in person this week, Derek Kubicek, joined again in person by two lovely co-hosts, Ryan Stacy and Josh Wessler.
Derek, welcome back.
You survived the Rona. I'm not making light of it. Like I'm genuinely happy about this. You know, you're vaxxed, you're boosted, and you're better.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't catch it, dropping off some Thanksgiving goodies. Emery didn't catch it, so he got to stay in daycare, and I'm excited. You know, we're actually friends outside of this podcast, listeners, so it has actually sucked not being able to hang out with, you know, good friends. For
honestly, I spend most of my Saturdays at Derek's house playing video games like we're freaking middle schoolers, except we have to babysit his kid. Couldn't do that over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, right, and we used to play like multiplayer games, and now we just do single player games where it's like, you know, we're spending time together and then we'll trade off, and like one of us will chase Emery around,
make sure he doesn't die,
drag him across the carpet and stuff like that, or keep him from climbing the stairs. So it's nice to be back in person. And then as a bonus, you know, Josh, he is usually remote, but Josh is also here this week, so the three of us are actually sitting around the table. YouTube has a treat. We're all here. There's no Zoom flipping between the screens, so welcome, Josh.
Hello, it's good to be here. I also survived COVID. So,
yes.
You know, I'm part of the cool kids club here, unlike Derek.
No, 3 for 3.
Derek could go too, just before this.
Yeah.
We're part of the cool kids club because we had it in November 2022.
Oh, okay. Is that the...
Only those people
Only
are part
those
of the cool
people.
club.
I really hope that you guys don't get any of the long COVID stuff that I've been dealing with. For those of you out there, I've been dealing with shortness of breath, and it's the worst. But, you know, hopefully just exercise and stuff, it'll come back eventually. But it's not why we're here tonight. Today we are here to talk about episode 11 of season 43. What is it called again?
It is called Hiding in Plain Sight.
Hiding in Plain Sight.
The title was Hiding in Plain Sight.
Yeah, and I missed it.
I wonder what that was about.
And boy, oh boy, do we have some fun things to talk about.
Fun episode.
This might be my overall favorite episode of the season. It was really entertaining. There was a bit of a throwback. It was hilarious at times, and we got some strategy talk, and we got some jury reactions. We got a lot in this episode, so I'm excited to jump into it.
You got Survivor beating production at their own game,
yes,
literally, which is stuff I love to see. As the resident anti-Jeff Probst correspondent. Funny thing, I was listening to a podcast the other day from Dead Meat, one of my favorite YouTube channels and podcasters. They were doing a Survivor episode, a special Survivor episode, but they did a cast of 18 famous horror killers, characters, and put them through a simulation to see who would win. And it was very funny. James A. Janice, the host of Dead Meat, he was talking about how he really wants to be on Survivor, loves Survivor, and his main thing is he just really wants Jeff Probst to like him. And here I am thinking, like, I want Jeff Probst to hate my guts. I want to annoy the hell out of Jeff Probst. That is my goal. I don't understand why you want Jeff to like you.
Well, James knows how to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. James is going to be on Survivor, and I'm not.
You've always been more of an anti-establishment, anti-capitalist, anarchy. All of you. You used to have a shirt, anarchy. It was your dodgeball team in high school.
Got a hole in it. Yeah, we were the Talladega Knights. That was our teaming, so we all had Talladega Knights quotes on the back of our shirts. Mine was anarchy. Talladega Nights, fun fact, best movie ever made. That's comedy.
Yeah,
that's comedy.
That's very fitting for you. I also like the episode. If you guys cared, I'm not going to go as far as Derek did and say that's the best of the season, but it's in the top tier of episodes from this season. My favorite part was probably during the challenge when you just hear like a couple of like really old classic sounds that are just playing in the background that you don't really hear very often anymore. Stuff from back in like, you know, I don't know, Australia.
Borneo. It's the Borneo sound effects. So you love to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, I think at this point for the episode, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. 3, 2, 1. We're going to lose Sammy tonight. Fun final episode for Sammy. He was great. Good support on his way through. Good final words. I really like Sammy this season.
He's a good sport. You know, I had him as one of my least likely to win based on my preseason rankings, and I think that lack of life experience caught up to him. Really, I mean, end of last episode, big time in the beginning of this episode, and after that it was all an uphill climb.
A few more years, he'll be a great Star player.
And in a few more years, people will be more wary of him too. You know, that's the downfall of getting on when you're really young.
Yeah, and I did enjoy the fact that we also saw enough of him.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't someone who he went out and we got a lot, in his last gaffes and in his final confessional or anything like that, making you feel like, oh man, I wish they would have shown more of him. No, I feel like they showed a perfect amount of Sammy throughout this season.
Very consistent at it throughout the season, which is that's what you want.
I don't want to be surprised when they go out and just be like, wait, who is this person?
Well, and a big part of that is a symptom of Sammy's game, because he always wanted to be involved, and many times he was involved. Perhaps too involved, but, it'll get you screen time.
Which we talked about.
Bet you Jeff loved him.
Probably.
100%.
All right, you guys ready to jump into this episode proper?
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right, so the episode begins with everyone coming back for Trouble Council. Sammy and Owen are left out of the vote. Sammy tries to say to Carla, like, yeah, I didn't vote for you. That was probably Gabler. And then a few seconds later, he's like, okay, yeah, it was me. Not great. Bad start for Sammy.
He has the right idea, I think. Just like, people already know where I'm at here. Is at some point, just coming clean and being completely honest can work. And because, especially from a game player like Carla, she almost respects it a little bit more and is open to working with you if you can at least come clean about it and just be like, hey, this is the scenario, this is what happened, it didn't work, whatever, maybe we can still work together in the future.
Yeah, and you gotta be careful though. As soon as he found out that he was in a minority vote, he needed to come up with a better story. Admit you voted for Carla, but be like, Jesse wanted to flush your idol or get you out.
Yeah.
And he told me at the 11th hour, and I went with that. I didn't have time to talk to you, or I would have circled back. There are options.
Mm-hmm. You have your whole time, because you're not allowed to talk from the journey to Tribal Council back to camp. You have that whole extended period of time to come up with a story.
How long do you think that is?
It's hard to say. It's probably not as long as it used to be, because they've been in Fiji for so long. They probably streamlined everything. But a lot of times it's a car ride. They like, oh, you got a dangerous trek. If you go back to Forever Borneo, Jeff Probst really played it up like, oh, you got a dangerous trek through the jungle. They got a car ride. They get in the back of one of those big cargo trucks and they drive you up there.
And then they walk the last 100 yards with a nice wide shot from up in the top of the jungle.
It's like, look at the long journey they have.
The lit torches in the dark, which I love that stuff. But
it's great. I don't care. But you have a good period of time to think about it. What you're gonna say. I love this from Owen. He is talking to Gabler because Owen was on the wrong side of the vote too, and he's like, I've been on the wrong side of every vote since the first one, Mariah. He got that one right. And every vote since then he has been wrong, which is hilarious. And Owen winner edit. It's happening.
Owen can't win edit. It's happening.
See, if you could go into Final Tribal and be like, I just want to say, I didn't vote for any of you.
Can you imagine?
It's a strategy.
That's great.
Not intentional, but it's a strategy.
Y'all have heard how hard it would be to get a 0% on a multiple choice test. Here I sit with a darn near 0 on a multiple choice test.
So Sammy tries to repair things with Carla, and he tries to plant seeds like, hey, Cass is the first person to throw your name out. She's coming after you. Carla seems to buy this, but by the end of the episode, Sammy is the one who's going to go home.
Yeah, and this was surprising to me because you have to believe that she either bought it or she's already been thinking it maybe. Yeah. Because Sammy's, his story, his explanation was not convincing. It was like, Cassidy was the first one to throw your name out there. No. and then she asked for more of oh, how did it happen? What was the conversation like? And he just threw out just some random oh yeah, it was kind of mutual, whatever.
A salesman like Cody, or maybe Justine, you can sell ice to the Inuit. It's possible, but Sammy's explanation, like you said, was pretty garbage.
19-year-old explanation.
It's like Carla had to talk herself into it afterward.
Yeah.
The best type of inception is where they start to believe it themselves. I personally would have probably tried to pit the two duos against each other and sold Jesse under the bus.
It's crazy that all four of those people are still in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, great for the four of them,
yeah. But the fact that they're not really aligned either, it's just these two separate duos haven't gone to war yet. That's crazy.
Somehow.
I think the reason why Carla is a little gung-ho to, like, at least think about getting rid of Cassidy, it turns out she did tell Cassidy about her idol. We don't like that.
No, we don't like that. Of course, I still think, based on Jesse's confessional last episode, that everyone, they don't know, but, like, everyone there has a pretty darn good idea that Carla has an idol. She just hasn't said the words.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is as big of a factor, but we do know that Carla admitted it, and that is not good.
Yep.
And regardless if it's a factor or not, from Carla's perspective, it is. And that's, at least right now, that's all that really matters.
It's really funny. Cassidy walks up to Carla and is like, hey, I'm worried that Sammy, since he's on the bottom, he might try to play us against each other. Wow. Yeah.
Look at that timing.
So a boat pulls up, and it's like, hey, there's an advantage in the jungle. Go get it. And this is hilarious because the advantage was like pinned to a tree with like a little green stripe on it, and it really blended into the jungle really well. So we just have so much footage of people just walking right past it, leaning against the tree, looking right at it and missing it completely. It was just hilarious. This might be my favorite part of the episode.
Oh, it was so comedic. And Josh even made a comment, I wouldn't be the camera guy. I couldn't be the camera guy.
Guaranteed. Like, because I would be laughing. I would be laughing the entire time. And I mean, they have so much experience positioning themselves in the right place to have the idol in the frame with the contestants without giving it away.
Yes.
Like, they're just good at that. And I understand that. But you still have, like, human emotions where if I see... I don't even know how many. We saw basically everyone walk by it at one point or another, or even just like stand, look, lean against a tree, whatever it might be. I would have been laughing the entire time.
That would have been the hard part. Now, let's get into some consulting here, some behind-the-scenes stuff. So, yes.
I knew this was coming up.
Use the cameras to your advantage when you're looking for something. If the cameras are following you, either A, you're near it, or B, they're just trying to get a little footage removed. But if they stick by you for like a longer period of time, you might be near it. Look where the cameras are stationed, the ones that aren't moving, and it might be in that general vicinity. If the cameras stop following you, you are dead cold. You are dead cold, go somewhere else. So that's what you gotta look for, is watch the cameras. I know after maybe a couple of days on the island, you kind of ignore the cameras and forget they're there. That's what a lot of contestants have said. When it comes to big searches like this, even just like a typical idol search, if the cameras stop following you, you are not close. So don't bother.
And haven't we heard this said as much from Russell? And I think Ben Driebergen as well has said, I used production. They position themselves very intentionally, and you need to know that.
Yep. Russell and Ben both kind of broke the meta on that, and it's not something you can really fix because this is a TV show. That's the most important thing.
Well, and also...
I mean, you fix it by having more cameras.
Yes, but, that costs money.
And burying idols 10 paces away from a stick stuck in the beach, too.
This is great. Cody's going to end up finding it, and it's a betting challenge, but there's no real penalty, which, whatever. Cody was told what the challenge is going to be, and he can bet on who he thinks will win immunity. So, he has two chances to win. If he's right, he gets immunity as well, or he could just win it himself. So Cody is going to pick Owen as his person to win, as his champion. So this immunity challenge is the classic, you're underneath the gate as the tide is rising, and you gotta try not to panic and just keep breathing even when the water's getting higher and higher. It's a classic challenge. I want to do this challenge so badly. I love the water. I love swimming. I love just chilling in the water. I want to do this challenge for fun. This looks so awesome.
And this is actually a really good time to bring up a question that we were asked by a listener.
Yep.
In this challenge.
Yes. So Natasha on Twitter,
longtime listener,
asked, out of the three of us, who would you bet on to win the challenge? Not saying do you think that you could win this challenge or anything, but
between
who
us,
would you bet on?
Josh. Skinniest faced. Fifth of the bars.
He does have the skinniest head.
So it just depends. Would you panic or not? Yeah, you the right facial structure for it. I think you have the best chance of fitting your face to the bars. But I don't know how comfortable you are in the water, I guess. So hopefully I would know that at that point on the island.
Okay.
I think that I would win out of the three of us because, first of all, we have a little bit of hard evidence here. We all vacationed to Mexico together, and we had to do an underwater swimming challenge, and I went the furthest. So.
When did we do that?
At the resort.
Was I drunk?
Yes.
I don't remember this.
I don't remember. Oh, wait, no, I do remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually only got beat by one guy, and he was like a former swimmer at like TCU. He
I know the guy was here for this.
Tell everyone about this.
I was not involved in this challenge. I was off drugs somewhere probably. I did not do this, did I?
I'm pretty sure you did. And I think you only made it like halfway down the pool. And I made it to the end of the pool because I was like, oh, I ran out of pool. I can't go any further. And then the guy was like, I made it down and back. I'm a former swimmer from TCU. I'm like, whatever, dude. But point being, like, I'm not scared of that feeling of drowning. That doesn't bother me because I know I'm not drowning. Whereas a lot of people panic in that, and I've been very intentional about training myself to not panic in that drowning mode. So I think I would be pretty good. That being said, I'm not a big fan of the Pacific Ocean because it is cold. So, I don't know. I bet on me, though.
See, if this was like the classic one, that is the slow rising tide until, it gets to the top, I think that I would be able to do really well at that one. This one was different.
Yeah, well, this one was out in the ocean. The waves and the chop was a lot more of a factor.
The last one was as the tide slowly creeps in, how well can you withstand almost the claustrophobia of only having the gate to breathe through until you get to the end. People start using their hands and everything to try to like build their own like little like air tunnel.
Snorkel.
Yeah. That one I think I would do really well at. This one, I don't think so. I think the swells would really get to me just because they would catch me off guard, and then I'd swallow water, like not know when it was going to go down while I'm holding my breath. So my answer to the question is going to be Ryan for one reason only. Passion. He's very passionate about this challenge, and I could see him as long as you don't accidentally swallow some water, things you can't control. I think that he would withstand the rest of us.
I do also think that Ryan, out of the three of us, if we're doing like a stat sheet and stubbornness is just on the stat sheet, there are things that I am more stubborn about Ryan with, but like a base level stubborn on any given thing, Ryan wins.
Yeah.
So
that's just the way it goes.
Yep.
So do with that what you will, Natasha. I hope that answers the question.
Do we each pick a different person?
We each picked a different person. Hey, at least me and you pick the other person. Like, we're not like Derek just picking themselves.
Yep.
Hey, you gotta have confidence. Come on, Jeff, cast me.
So this is fun. So it's Cody's advantage is revealed, but it won't be revealed who he picked until after the votes have been cast, before they've been read. So it kind of functions as a hidden immunity idol.
And I do like that they were told.
Yeah.
It's maybe a little powerful to have it be a regular in the game, but I do like it for a one-off. It didn't feel offensive to me.
It's fine. We've done similar things before. I think I would have preferred if it was just an immunity necklace and it was told right now, just cause, but that's basically what it acted like anyway. They treated Cody like he was immune. So
yes.
And that was kind of the one thing. I wish it would have been told just right away after the challenge, and just like, and this is who we picked. That way, right away from the beginning of, because I had zero expectation. I had zero expectation that they're even going to try to target Cody in this scenario. Now, whether or not they should have, that's another story. But I did not think they were going to.
It ended up coming down to Owen, who Cody picked, and Carla. And this goes on for so long, goes on for 2.5 hours. They pass the high tide marker. These two make it through the chop and the high tide, and the water starts going down. Production realizes they screwed up, and they call the challenge because, we only have 6 days left. We gotta get to this. Maybe have a 39-day season, so you have a spare day in there. And they award both Carla and Owen immunity for beating the challenge.
Right, and I did make a comment at the time. Season 15, Jeff would absolutely not stand for this.
Yeah.
He would either come up with the lamest tiebreaker on the spot, and we would all be a little angry about it, but at the same time, like, we get it because production's got their back against the wall. Or you have 39 Days of Survivor, and you go full Tom and Ian, you just leave them there for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Until the next tide comes through.
Leave them there until they start getting delirious.
I support that.
Me too.
It would be more of a cold factor than the tide factor.
Yeah, absolutely it would be. And I am here for it.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to kind of plant my flag in this one and say I really did not like this.
Yeah.
I just... if this was the first challenge after the merge or something like that, you have 10, 12, whatever people in the game, that'd be a little bit better. We're down to the final 7 here. 2 people are going to be immune, with one more eligible person being immune that they're not even going to shoot for. So that's 3 people out of 7. That is a huge number. And they're only doing this because production screwed up.
Yep.
They did not think this challenge through enough, or they didn't test it hard enough. They didn't think of any alternatives of like, oh, what if they actually, survive through a few swells of the ocean. It was just mismanagement on production's part, and I don't think that they should have let it go. To Derek's reasoning, simple tiebreaker, holding your breath underwater challenge. Like, tiebreaker between the 2 of you, both you go under, okay, whoever comes up last wins.
Maybe they would have had to agree to it, and maybe they refused. It's that kind of thing because it wasn't stated ahead of time. Either way, I'm fine with this because they showed it production, which I always think is hilarious.
Yes, again, anti-establishment. Yeah. We have established this.
So Carla and Owen and secretly Cody all have immunity now.
Yeah.
Functionally.
One last thing before moving on, since we did get one more comment on this whole challenge from Brandon straight on Twitter. He wants to know if there's any strategy that should go into selecting the other immunity winner. So from Cody's perspective, is there an approach that you should take for maybe like hedging a bet, or how you could approach that?
Go for skinniest face is probably your best bet. If you go back to Survivor Micronesia, Ozzy, the greatest swimmer of all time, loses this challenge to Jason because Jason's got the skinnier face and he can stick it up further and it's easier for him to breathe. I think skinny's face is the best way to go, and make sure that person is not a panicky person. Obviously Cody I think would have been the chalk pick, but Cody found the advantage. I probably would have gone for Casty based on what I know, and she did very well, but obviously Cody knows better than me.
Any reason to pick someone who, just alliance-wise, or someone who you think might be a target? So it's if this is going to be our target, I should pick them so that if they win, I win.
Someone desperate is not bad either.
It would have been more interesting if somebody like Sammy had found it, because then Sammy would need to figure out the alliances a little bit better. Like, okay, who being immune would be a really big problem for me? Cool. It's kind of like you're in a drinking game and you declare that you were on a date with somebody. So every time you drink, they have to drink, right? So okay, if they suffer, I suffer, but if they benefit, I also benefit. Cody was never really in any danger to anyway. I don't think he was going to be. Otherwise, we would have seen more talk of Jesse in general, which we didn't get. So I think for Cody, you just try and pick the person that you think is most likely. Use all of the information you know. But if you're Sammy, I think this is a more interesting conversation. And maybe you want to pick somebody like Cass. Because if Cass wins, you're dead. Yeah. So I can see that.
Owen and Cassidy, they're going to talk about taking out Sammy because no one trusts him. Carla's going to be the one to suggest maybe we go after Cassidy instead. And everyone seems to get on board. Jesse's worried about taking out Cassidy now because Carla seems to be so fine with it. He doesn't trust Sammy. Sammy's really good at making fire. So she's like, why don't we give her to Sammy instead? And we'll have Carla vote for Cassidy. We'll put them at each other's throats. And she'll look bad in front of the jury. This is a great plan for Jesse.
Which we did get a comment about as well. And, yes, this is a great plan for Jesse.
Yep.
And Jesse's a likable guy. And he's a great narrator. And I'm happy to root for his plans for his sake. But from a game theory perspective, I don't know that this is that good for anybody else.
I mean, it's one, it comes down to one thing from my perspective. It's, from what we've seen, I still think that basically everyone left in the game can beat Sammy.
Yep.
Gabler's kind of that one asterisk that I think we even talked about in the last, episode or two that's okay, Gabler actually has a chance between now and the end of the game to put himself ahead of Sammy, it seems like. So I actually really like the structure of his plan, of Jesse's plan. With just trying to get the two of them pitted against each other while not actually voting either of them out. But, if you swap out Sammy with someone else, then that would be a lot better in this scenario. I don't know if you'd actually be able to do that just with who's remaining. But at its core, I like his idea of just kind of deflecting somewhere else.
And, Owen doesn't seem to fully trust Jesse, and Cody's a little hesitant. really, in my opinion, to jump to who should have gone home, really, I think everyone should have targeted Jesse and tried to blindside him. They don't know he has an idol except Cody. They don't know he has 2 idols, but you got to try and take him out because Jesse and Cody have to be split up. You can't really take out Cody. Why take out Sammy when you can take out Jesse?
And that's where I think maybe getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. I mean, we know that Sammy goes home. Tribal doesn't really matter other than the fact that Sammy plays a shot in the dark.
Yep.
Who should have gone home? Maybe Cass is the answer because Jesse saves himself with an idol. But as soon as Jesse starts bringing up this idea, like, let's drive a wedge between Carla and Cass, that's exactly the perfect time to throw a bunch of votes on Jesse. And even if Carla does play her idol and save herself, and Cass goes home, and Jesse has to play an idol to save himself, congratulations, now Carla will work with you to take out Jesse and Cody going forward because she knows that Jesse drove a wedge between her and Cass.
Yep.
So it fell into the laps of every other player to just throw votes, especially for Owen and Carla, and anyone, Gabler, who was not talked about tonight. 2 of them had immunity and 1 of them isn't being targeted. Go after the big fish. You have nothing to lose here.
I think if I'm going to simplify it a little bit more, I think that Cassidy probably should have gone home. Now, she's my winner pick, but I think that it probably should have been her just to break up one of the duos, and it seems like that would have been a lot more straightforward than trying to turn this thing around on Jesse. All you have to have is someone like Cody basically just say no to him. So I think Cassidy probably should have been the one to go home, but I'm really confused, and we didn't see it because after the conversation that Jesse had with Owen, I wish we would have gotten something with Owen and Gabler, because we just had that in the previous episode about Gabler wanting to do something with Carla to focus on Jesse and Cody. So I thought there was going to be something there where Gabler was just like, by the way, I had this idea.
Even at the beginning of the episode where Gabler's like, Owen, I got a plan to get to the final 3.
Okay, so do it.
And
maybe Gabler's master plan is to take out, for some reason, Sammy, who he can potentially beat, and then go for Carla or Cassidy, and then go for Jesse and Cody. No, that doesn't make sense, dude. You need to go for one pair, you need to go for the other pair, and then somehow you're at the end with maybe 2 people you can beat.
So, Tribal Council, this is the last time anyone can play Shot in the Dark, which we haven't talked about all season. Sammy claims he's going to play it, and does. Cody is revealed to have immunity, but Sammy is not safe. So, everyone voted for Sammy. Okay, so Jesse got his way, but somehow Carla was filled in on this plan.
Yeah, that's confusing.
So, how did everyone get on board with voting on Sammy? I don't know. I don't know. We didn't get the footage, so I'm sure we'll get it at the beginning of next time.
Yeah, someone include Carla in here, but if that's gonna happen, then this plan doesn't matter anymore. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, why are we taking it?
The only reason why you could say that this is an okay plan is if you have that rift between Carla and Cassidy after the vote.
Again, for Jesse, and that's why I'm going to make a prediction right now that Owen, who's trying to... I wrote a blurb at the beginning of the season. He is Sir Owen von Liechtenstein from A Knight's Tale. He's trying to change his stars, and boy, oh boy, if anyone with a still chance to win this game needs to change his stars, it's Owen right now.
Yep.
Jesse clued Owen in on this vote, and Owen can be like, this is my chance to get in with Carla and Cass. I can let them know that this is what was going to happen. Or I can let Carla know this is what was going to happen. Now you have Carla's trust, and Cass is still in the game. Wow, Owen has options. Assuming this is what happened, we'll find out soon. But this is my prediction.
So I think we all are in agreement. It should have been an attempt to get out Jesse with an idol play, knocking out maybe Cassidy.
Yeah, if I'm getting specific, everyone not in the power duo, the power duo should be gunning for each other. And then everyone not in the power duo should be splitting the votes between Cass and Jesse. However you want to decide to do that, great. But all the votes should have been on those 2, Cass and Jesse.
Sammy was kind of a waste because I don't think he could be anybody except maybe Gabler.
Yeah. Right. And
it seemed like he maybe he was a little bit better socially than what the edit led on.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard to tell. But I still feel like that is the case, that most people could have beaten him in the end. I'm still going to go with, the original plan before Jesse got involved of just go with the Cassidy vote. This is kind of where Cody should have just kind of put his foot down and
Yeah.
basically been like, no, you're overcomplicating things. Like, let's just do this. It helps us. It helps basically everybody, and we can just go forward later. Like, the fact that Sammy is really good at making fire shouldn't matter, because if he wins fire and makes it to Final 3, congrats, you can still beat him.
Yep.
Like,
Doesn't really matter.
It does not matter.
So, we're on the same page. Wrong person went home.
Yeah.
What did Twitter have to say?
Yeah, Twitter, on our vote this week, 66% of Twitter said that, yes, the right person went home.
Naturally.
Dumb. Come on, Twitter.
And then I wanted to pop in here, since we got through the vote, with one more comment that we got. This is around Shot in the Dark. And I know we've covered Shot in the Dark before, but we do have a lot of new listeners, so we might as well talk about it again. This is a perfect time, since this is the only time we got it this season.
I do love to repeat myself.
So Blake Miller on Twitter asked, what's the correct strategy with Shot in the Dark? Announce you're going to use it, so hopefully no one votes for you, or keep it to yourself.
I liked what Sammy did, that he announced it, because it seemed to rattle people a little bit. They still followed through, which is fine, but I do like the play, just to put a little fear, especially when you think you're in danger. So I really like Sammy's play today.
I think the whole announcing it to scare people, I don't think that changes anything. He announced it ahead of time. It didn't change any votes. I think 99 out of 100 even times, it's not going to change anyone's vote. And it really didn't matter, since this was unanimous.
Yeah.
Maybe one person could have changed here, but
Just threw a security vote on like Casty or something.
yeah, who knows? But
And to be frank, Cass and Gabler are the only two who are even remotely threatened by the Shot in the Dark play anyway, because
Cassidy probably should have flipped her vote.
Yeah, Casty might have been smart to like throw a vote
on Gabler
Jesse.
or Jesse.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't do on Jesse, because they would find out that that Sammy is safe, and then Jesse could play an idol.
Yeah.
But I guess she doesn't know that he
know.
has an idol.
Yeah.
So yeah, throw a vote on Jesse.
Let's get a best and worst player of the episode. Derek, who do you have for best player of the episode?
I had a hard time. I still think that Jesse gunned for the wrong person. So even though he got his way, I don't think he got. I don't think he did the right thing. So I landed on the person who I think, both on paper and between the lines, had the best day, and that's Owen. He started way down in the dumps, but he beats production. He wins immunity. For the first time, in his words, since Mariah, he is on the right side of the vote. He does not get the football pulled out from underneath him. And I'm going to go ahead and actually put between the lines, I think that he did clue Carla in. And I think that was good for him, because it will build bridges in the future, because he was honest and Jesse was dishonest, and Carla will know that.
Josh.
So I've got Owen.
Josh?
Yeah, I struggled with this, man. I gave it to Carla, just because, I didn't like the fact that she was going to turn on Cassidy. I think just because I think it would have been smarter to go after the other duo first. Like, yeah, if you feel the need that you're going to have to take out Cassidy at some point, sure, do it. But take out the other duo first, and then you can do it. But ultimately, she didn't do that. She went with the plan of taking out Sammy. I think that taking out Sammy doesn't really hurt anyone who's at the top of this game right now. And she's one of those people that are at the top, so it's completely fine for her to get rid of him. The only other person that I could have thought of in this place would have been Owen. Also Carla won immunity, but so did Owen. But the one thing that put Owen below Carla is he actually could have beaten Sammy at the end. And I'm still going to put my flag in the ground here that Owen has such a struggle to win this game, and he needed Sammy in this game. And I don't think Carla did.
I'm going to agree that Owen taking out Sammy was bad. I think Owen really needed Sammy. But Carla, I know this probably didn't happen in this episode, but we didn't know about it until this episode, so I'm going to give her a knocker point where she told Cass about her idol. Don't love that. So I ended up giving my best player to Cody. He found the advantage, he played it correctly, winning himself immunity, saving himself, and preventing any sort of tomfoolery against him and Jesse. Knocking out Sammy doesn't hurt him at all. It's fine for Cody.
You think so?
I think so. I think, he can beat a few people left. Maybe it would have been more optimal for Cassidy to go for him. I still think Sammy is fine in the end for Cody, especially because they're two kind of similar guys. Taking out someone who's similar to you is good. So I give mine to Cody.
I had an honorable mention for Cody, and the last time that him and Jesse were at odds, Jesse wanted to do something fancy and switch up the vote, and Cody is the one who put his foot down and said, no, And they did that time. So it almost feels like there is a push and pull in this relationship, and he's like, fine, I took the last one. I'm not going to put my foot down this time. So I don't hate that from a relationship standpoint from Cody, but I do think Cass is still more optimal for both of them.
Yeah.
He was an honorable mention for sure. Very, very, very good day.
Yeah, I just don't consider Cody kind of like at the top of this game right now. So,
Sure.
you know, if you have a more sure person that you can beat at the end, I'm going to ding you a little bit more by choosing this move.
How about worst player? Josh, what do you got?
This one was tricky just because, you know, there's a couple people that you can go with just for taking Sammy out.
Mm-hmm.
It might be, this might be a little bit weird, but I'm going to go with Gabler here because he's just inactive right now. And he needs, I think I brought this up like in the last episode or two, like you need to be doing something every single vote almost now going forward. Like, we only have 4 more votes, including tonight. You need to be doing something at every single one if you want to win this game. And we saw that he wants to make a move on Jesse and Cody, work with Carla. Perfect. You know, you have a plan that's going in motion here. Reverse it on them. And nothing happened here. Sammy is the one person that you could argue that Gabler potentially could be.
Yep.
We don't know. I don't think he actually would have gotten any votes versus Sammy. But between now and the end of the game, that could have changed. Now, I see it as basically impossible for him to not get third in this game.
He's played a great third place game.
Yep.
My worst was also Gabler. He voted out someone he had a chance against, one of the only people, the only person he had a chance against. Gabler can't win this game. You know, to spoil who one of my people who cannot win this game is, Gabler's one of them. Bad move. Derek?
I agree that it was Gabler for exactly that reason. He needed Sammy to even have a fighting chance. I don't think there's a way for him to claw above. I mean, I think there's a chance that he can get above Cass to spoil mine as well, but I don't think there's anyone else that he can catch right now. So, I have Gabler.
All right. 6 people left. Who is going next? I'll start us off this time. So here's how I see it, and this is what should happen probably. I think Carla and Cassie are going to team up with Owen and Gabler and try and knock out Jesse and Owen. I think they're going to do a split. I think the idols are going to come into play. I think we're going to have advantage again. 2, maybe even 3 idols are going to get played. I think Cody and Jesse are going to target Cassidy, and their idols will bounce the vote, save them from getting voted out. One of them, those 2 is going 2-2-2, and then Cassidy gets killed on the shield, the idol shield.
The ricochet.
The ricochet, and bounces Cassidy out of the game.
I have Cass as well, and I'm probably just going to end up saying idol again for the next 2 weeks if it doesn't happen next week. But it's coming, and these different voting blocks and factions, there's only so much wiggle room. I think it's going to happen this next week. I thought that it probably should have happened this week had everyone played optimally. So I'm just going to continue with that and guess that Cass is taken out on the ricochet.
I think you guys are right in terms of who's going to be targeted here, but I don't think we're going to get Idlegeddon. I think Cody is going to go home. Whether it's due to Idol in the pocket, or maybe Jesse has both idols still and doesn't give it over to Cody.
Sure.
Because he definitely could. Or maybe Jesse turns on Cody. We saw that as, you know, a little teaser for the next episode. You know, he could have been talking about anyone, but I'm just going to go with Cody here. So I think Cody's going to be a casualty next week of a whole lot of chaos. If it's not him, it's probably Cassidy, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Let's get into who can win this game. Derek, I think you've given us both of yours already.
I have, but I did also say we should rank.
Ooh.
For these last 2 before the finale. So I know you keep your rank. I have mine.
Yep.
So I'm just going to go ahead and start, and I'm going to start with the 6th most likely to win the game. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. We can just have a short blurb at the end of this. I have Gabler at least likely. Above him, Cass. Surprisingly, in 4th place, I have Jesse. And then I have Cody. And then I have Owen. And I have Carla as most likely to win in a final 3 right now. I think Carla beats everybody. Some people might say in this room that I've got Owen rather high. But a lot of people that Owen was very close with are on that jury.
It's true.
He has the underdog story going for him. Jesse has 2-timed many people, and so people might say you've got him low at 4. He's been so strategic. Don't forget and don't discount the social aspect of this game. People don't like to be duped like that, so that's why I have those two where I have them.
Josh.
Yeah, so my two people who I don't think can win this game, Gabler, and I'm going back to Owen now. You know, he got out of the pit with Sammy's 1 week of being down there, but he's right back down to can't win. He said it himself. He hasn't been part of one correct vote until just now when he voted out the one person that he could have beat, the one of the two people that he could beat. So congrats, you finally were with the vote and with the majority when it wasn't the right move for you. I think he has a really hard time beating anyone else in this game. So if I'm just going to go with the rankings, then after the two of them, I'll go Cassidy went next, third to last, then Cody, Jesse, Carla. Do I think that both Jesse and Carla are going to make it to the end? No.
No. This isn't that's not who we're like who's most likely when it's just who can beat each other.
Yeah, so we're saying if they made it to the end, this is the order we would put them in. And I think that Carla does beat Jesse in this scenario. I think Jesse beats Cody beats Cassidy beats Owen beats Gabler if it's a final two.
Yeah, Gabler's last, Cassidy second, just so that she's done enough. I have Owen fourth, and I think that will be the final three. I'm thinking Owen's going to find a way with Cassidy and Gabler, or somebody else like a Jesse might blow their spot. That's certainly possible. Third, I have Cody. Second, Jesse. First, Carla.
I do take issue with you guys putting Jesse above Cody. I do think that Cody is playing a much stronger social game.
So we've seen it time and time. We've seen it time and time again. The alpha and the beta duo who've been together since day one, the alpha always wins.
And here's the thing, I don't think it's necessarily, I mean, maybe you could say it's an alpha and a beta with who's making the moves just because Jesse's been making a ton of moves. You could argue that it's too many, but it seems like so many people just really like Jesse.
Yeah, nobody's mad at Jesse.
That's what's going to come down to. Like, they like him in the game, it's just whether or not that comes back to bite him once they get onto the jury. And because I don't think it's going to come back to bite someone like Cody. It's like, oh, like, yeah, I was close with both Jesse and Cody. I think out of the two of them, if people are going to be burned by someone, it's going to be Jesse. But I don't think we're going to get anyone who's going to be really that bitter this season.
If those two go to the end together, as of right now, unless something obviously big happens, Jesse will blow Cody out of the water.
And I just don't know that
Probably like 6-1 or something.
And I don't know that I agree with it, but
it will not be close. It'll be an absolute. If Cody today, we vote the other four out, Cody, Jesse, final two, Cody just gets destroyed by Jesse. That's what would happen. We've seen it time and time again.
I don't know if it'll be that close, but I think it. Yeah, I would say maybe one more vote to Cody's side.
All right. Last thing we have to do is the Survivor pool. Josh, give us the update.
So, quite a turn of events here. I'll just say, I played myself.
Yeah, you played yourself.
For those who tune in each week and like to listen to my reasoning behind my picks. My reasoning last week was I'm going to take the coward's way out.
Yep.
And, regardless of what happens, the way that I was going to pick was going to ensure that I do not lose this week. Okay, well, congrats. I achieved that. The worst possible thing happened. And Sammy went home as both Ryan and I picked Sammy last week.
I want to maintain that I picked Sammy because I didn't have anyone else to pick.
Ryan had no one to pick. I had a choice between Sammy and Cassidy. I didn't feel good about either, so I went with the easy way to ensure that I lasted another week. I was hoping anyone else went home except for Sammy and Cassidy. Oh no, look at that. There's only 4 people who could be voted out of this game, and Sammy and Cassidy are 2 of them. So, this is where it leaves us. We reset.
Without Derek.
Because both me and Ryan lose essentially on the same person. So what we're going to do is we're going to reset without Derek because Derek sucks at this game. And
I'm picking Naka.
And we are going to start over with the remaining castaways. So all 6 people are back in play. And we go until one of us is out. So same rules as the beginning.
I'm going to take Jesse. He's got 2 idols.
God damn. I am also taking Jesse.
All right.
He has a guaranteed 1. I don't know if he has the second. But
so here's what's really fun about this. We're going to do this to the finale.
We're going to do this. So we'll have to figure out a good way to do this. Because we might have to do it live.
We can either do it live or we can do it ahead of time.
True. Like just set an order.
Yeah, just set an order.
I think that would be more interesting to go into the finale with your order preset.
I like that more.
Because it almost guarantees that you won't be the same.
Yeah.
So I like that.
So who we think is the safest at each vote, basically? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And, if we're wrong, we're wrong.
And that means that if your prediction going into finale week stinks, you lose.
Yeah, and then let's say you're wrong at 5, but I'm wrong at 4, I still win because you went out at 5.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
Cool. But we both have Jesse. We'll see what happens. But we're going to the finale.
Yeah, so basically that doesn't matter for the next week. So that's a good reason to come back and listen.
Yeah.
You'll get our updated rankings.
All right, guys, you got anything else? Any other questions or? Anything?
I don't have any other questions, but guys, it is that time of year for Spotify Wrapped.
For those who celebrate.
For those who celebrate Spotify Wrapped,
which is a healthy portion of our audience.
Yes, we do know that most of our listens come from Spotify. So I'm actually a call to action out there, a little bit of a clarion call. If we made your top 5, just tweet at us or DM us or just show us a screenshot or something, and we will, assuming that it's appropriate, shout out your tag on your handle on the podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and shout out right now at Mike the Kitman. Thank you for tweeting and tagging that we were number 3 on your podcast list for 2022. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. That made me feel extra special. So thank you.
Especially because we beat Rob, Sister Nino.
We beat Rob!
We beat our app. So suck it, Rob. I'm just kidding. I love you, Rob.
We're so much better.
No, God, no. Rob's great, but the fact that we beat Rob at something.
It's probably because the rewinds got binged, but you know what?
I'll fucking take
it. Counts.
I'll take it.
He has past seasons that he covers that you can listen to.
It counts. So, screenshot, DM, whatever. We'll shout out your handle, assuming the handle again is appropriate. But yeah, we really appreciate that. That makes us feel really good here.
Anything else, guys?
No, I don't think so.
All right, follow us on Twitter at Castaway Pod and all the other social media stuff.
You know where to find us.
You know what's up now. This has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.